There is a peculiar moment that repeats itself roughly every 4 years, though smaller versions happen weekly. A room full of people staring at a screen. Their bodies are tense. Their breathing has synchronized without anyone noticing. A ball crosses a line, and the room explodes. Screaming, hugging, some people literally crying. And somewhere in that room, or more likely in a different room entirely, there is a person who felt none of it. Not anger at the sport, not resentment toward the fans, just a flat, neutral nothing, like watching someone else's dream and not understanding why it matters. If that person is familiar, there is a specific reason the signal never arrives, and the reason has less to do with football and more to do with how the reward system decides what counts as meaningful. In 1976, social psychologist Robert Cialdini coined a term for something he'd been observing in university campuses across the American Midwest. After a home team victory, students were significantly more likely to wear the team's colours the next day. After a loss, the colours disappeared. Cialdini called this BIRGing, basking in reflected glory. The mechanism is deceptively simple. When a group a person identifies with succeeds, the brain registers it as a personal success. Not metaphorically, neurochemically. The dopamine system fires, self-esteem rises, cortisol drops. The person did nothing, did not train, did not play, did not even leave the couch, and the brain still processed the event as a personal achievement. This is not irrational behaviour. It is tribal circuitry operating exactly as designed. For hundreds of thousands of years, the success of the group meant the survival of the individual. The brain never unlearned that equation. It just transferred it to new containers, nations, teams, jersey colours. Bernhardt and colleagues took this further in 1998 with a study that should have received more attention than it did. They measured testosterone levels in male fans before and after a World Cup match between Brazil and Italy. Fans of the winning team showed a measurable increase in testosterone. Fans of the losing team showed a measurable decrease, not players. Fans. People sitting in living rooms thousands of miles from the stadium. Their endocrine systems responded as if they had personally competed and personally won or lost. The body did not distinguish between watching and doing. The hormonal systems synchronized with the outcome as if the person had been on the field. This is not a quirk of over-enthusiastic fans. This is the depth at which spectator sport plugs into biological machinery. The ritual is not entertainment in the way most people use the word. At the level of the nervous system, it is participation. Henry Tajfel's social identity theory, developed in the late 70s, explains the broader architecture. Humans do not just belong to groups. They derive a portion of their self-concept from group membership. The team becomes an extension of identity. Its victories elevate the self, its losses diminish it, and crucially, the boundary between the in-group and the out-group activates the same neural circuitry that processes personal threat and personal reward. Shamay Tsuri and colleagues demonstrated in 2019 that synchronized group experiences, watching the same event, feeling the same tension, releasing at the same moment, trigger coordinated dopamine responses across individuals. The crowd is not just emotionally aligned, it is neurochemically aligned. The reward is not the game, the reward is the synchronization itself, the feeling of being part of something larger, of dissolving the boundary of individual experience into collective rhythm. And then there is the person who feels none of this, the one who watches a stadium full of 60,000 people losing their minds and genuinely cannot locate the signal inside themselves, not suppressing it, not performing disinterest. The signal simply is not there. What is happening in that brain? The honest answer is less dramatic than either side wants to hear. The non-fan brain is not broken, and it is not elevated. Its reward system is wired to different inputs. The dopamine pathway that fires during group synchronization and tribal identification either has a higher activation threshold for this particular stimulus, or it draws its reward from sources that are structurally different. Deep conversation, solitary problem-solving, creative work, long-form reading, physical activity without competition. These are not lesser sources of dopamine, they are parallel tracks. The system is not empty, it is allocated elsewhere. This is where irony deserves a seat at the table, because the cultural conversation about not watching sports follows a predictable script. The fans say, "You're missing out on the greatest shared human experience." The non-fans say, "I am above mindless tribal entertainment." Both are wrong in interesting ways. The fan is correct that the experience is neurochemically real. It is not shallow or fake. The brain genuinely processes it as meaningful. The non-fan is correct that the experience is not universal. The absence of the signal is not a deficiency, it is a configuration. Where both go wrong is in assuming the other person is making a choice. The fan did not choose to care about football. The neural reward pathway was activated by exposure, by social context, by timing, and the identification formed. The non-fan did not choose to be indifferent. The same pathway, presented with the same stimulus, did not fire at the threshold required to form attachment. The decision happened below the level of conscious choice, in the wiring, not in the will. On the other hand, and this is the part that keeps the video from becoming a comfortable validation, there is a difference between a reward system that draws from different sources and a reward system that has difficulty connecting to collective experience of any kind. Some people do not watch football and instead invest that energy in other forms of connection, other shared rituals, other group experiences that happen to activate their specific reward profile. Others do not watch football and do not connect to any collective rhythm. Not sports, not concerts, not community, not shared celebration. The first is a configuration. The second might be something worth examining more closely, not as a diagnosis, as a question. When the world offers a moment of collective synchronization, whatever form it takes, does the system decline because it has better options, or because the bridge to shared experience has narrowed in ways that are hard to see from the inside? 6 videos this week covered territory from silence to speech to spectacle. The thread running through all of them: the brain does not operate on defaults that apply to everyone, it runs on configurations, specific reward profiles, specific processing depths, specific thresholds for social input. And the value of understanding the configuration is not to label it, but to know whether it is serving the life around it or quietly limiting it. That distinction matters more than any category. Next week, the final 3: people who cut off everyone, people who are not protected as children, and people who care for stray animals. The first one does not go where most channels take it. The line between healthy boundaries and total avoidance is thinner than it seems, and the test for telling them apart is simpler than expected.